Sorry about the last video. It's black, and yep, this one's also black because it's way past midnight. I can see a little bit of light, but now I don't think it's anything come through the video. Just a continuation, a little bit, just a little add-on to what I was saying before is with this corporation being registered in the United States, you can search the names. You can find that's pretty easy. There's only basically two companies that own everything anyway. That's pretty easy to find. All the big major companies, it's owned by two companies only. The same two companies kept registering up everywhere. Anyway, what I come to say is, with this foreign corporation running the show in Australia, when they became registered became existence in 1973, 1980 something under Bob Hawke, Robert Hawke, John Howard, and so forth. Since they're a company, a foreign entity, because it's registered in the United States, it's a foreign corporation. It's not even Australian, it's foreign. It means that's a company. There is no such thing then as Crown land. All this land people say is Crown land and it's owned by the government, state, and so forth. Well, it actually can't be if it's owned by a corporate. If it's a corporation that's walked in and just registered itself, and then started creating all these other companies under its one umbrella. Australian Labor Party, Australian Liberal Party, Medicare, Vic Roads, New South Wales Health, and so forth. If all these corporations, education, you name it, there's about over 50 of them, many more, which it controls every single facet of everyone's lives. So since it's a company, a corporation, and it just registered itself as Norfolk Islands and then resides in Australia in Parliament House, then if it just registered itself, it really has no assets. It's just basically taken them and claimed them, and people just think they're owned by the government. They think they're Crown land, when it's not actually not the business registered name of the Australian government as a business name. Don't think of it as in Australia as the Australia and the government as a government. It's a registered business name. The Australian government. It's a registered business name. Like you can call yourself United States government. You can call yourself the Tasmanian government of Tasmania or whatever. That's just a business name. You need to understand that's just a business name. That business is registered in Norfolk Islands. That business corporation is taking up residency in Canberra, which is known as Parliament House. New Parliament House, should I say now. Therefore, if that business is registered like any other business, even that fish and chip shop down the road that you may buy chips at or whatever it is, McDonald's, whatever it may be, it can't just claim property, but under the assumption that it's government, people think they do, and therefore they ask for permits for this and the permits for that and the rights to build on or claim or buy Crown land when it's not theirs. Think about it this way. Someone registers a business and they take up residency in an abandoned shop, and there's a paddock next to it, and the company just registered itself and took up residency in a shop, and there's land next to it, and then someone says, "Oh, that's our land. You want it? We'll sell it to you for $100,000. Oh, and there's another land out there. We'll rent you that one for, say, $1,000 a month." And people just believe it, and they just get registered, write it down, registering that money, registering that property to Joe Blow, whoever it may be, and therefore they put that in their records as that's the person who runs the property or owns that property. They sold it for 100,000, and then they just open up another business saying titles registry office, and they put someone in there because every time they sell land, they got to register it over there. And so if you buy land off your next door neighbor who owns the property, you say, "Oh, you should register that with us," and then you pay them $50 and you register them and say, now I've got your title to your property because you just registered it with us. We got the title deed. But they just open up and they just create another business and put someone there paying $100 a week or whatever it may be, and they're just registering everything. And there's probably another 10 acres behind them, and someone said, "Oh, I'd like to develop that." I said, "Yeah, well, that's ours too. You want?" And the same the people who registered business and went in the shop, and they're just selling the land behind them, which is not theirs as well, but they sell it, and everyone thinks it belongs to them. They say, "Oh, that's just Crown land." Yeah, no one owns it. Your house is not there. Your house is not there. No, it's Crown land, and then they sell it. The people who registered their business, even though it's not theirs. That's the same way as registering as Crown land. So when a corporation, company, business, a foreign entity is in Parliament House, whether it be state or federal or local, because all of them are all corporations. Your state, federal, and local governments are corporations with ABN numbers. That's why we had to get ABN numbers way back then. They don't own the land. The corporation you're selling, you're buying it off a corporation that doesn't own it. The same with Australian government business in Canberra, all your state and federal, local, which is all registered businesses. The land they claim to be Crown land is not Crown. It's not theirs. So you say, well, you're trespassing on Crown land. This is well, actually, no. You're a corporation. You never had this land. This is Crown land, but you're not. You're a corporation. You're a corporation. Therefore, the corporation cannot. They can't claim it as theirs. They're a foreign entity. Federal, state, local. They're all foreign entities with allegiance to the United States. It's a foreign entity where that registration office is owned by the Vatican. So it's not government of it's not the Commonwealth of Australia. So if anything, you need to revert back to the 1901 Commonwealth Constitution because there's no such thing as Crown land. And if you go further, then you got to surrender the whole country to the Aboriginals because under the law, as we said, it wasn't taken over by force, it wasn't surrendered by the Aboriginals, and the land wasn't vacant. Therefore, they're the only three ways under the law of England can England claim land under their authority. Or, when they send like Captain Cook and Christopher Columbus and all that other stuff, they can only take over a land under those three conditions. Otherwise, they have no authority there. It belongs to the people who are already living there and exist there. Yeah, so there you go. No such thing as Crown land unless you get the 1901 Commonwealth of Australia back into power. Remove all ties, any foreign entities or corporations or business interests, because it goes against the Constitution to do such thing, to sign up to any foreign power. It's actually a treason. Or you go a little further back under the three rules where the English can't claim it. You have to go under Aboriginal law, because then Aboriginals have sovereignty, ownership of the land. Therefore, the Commonwealth So you go back to the Commonwealth of Australia of 1901, but then you have to revert back to the Aboriginals' law because they have true sovereignty ownership of the land.